This is my journey on how I started my own AI automation agency. My name's Yash and I run an AI automation agency called Pluto AI. We're currently hitting 5 figures in revenue every single month. And this all started when I quit my 9-to-5 job purely for a few reasons. Number one, I wanted financial freedom. Number two, I wanted to be able to travel anywhere. I didn't want to be tied down to one single country. And also AI was just popping off, and it still is. So I saw the opportunity and I really wanted to take advantage of it. And this was one of the best and easiest ways to take advantage of the AI wave. This is exactly how I went and did it. So from 9-to-5 to my own agency. Before, I used to be a management consultant at a massive company, and I used to work on processes with big Fortune 500 companies, some FTSE 100 firms as well here based in the UK. And what I realized was I was great at streamlining processes, but I wanted more freedom than that job offered me. Although it was fantastic experience and great exposure, and it gave me the skill set to, do what I do now, partially, it was something I wanted to start my own thing, essentially. And this job was a big opportunity. I had applied for it straight out of university, out of my graduate scheme, and it was a really tricky, job to get into, but I managed to get it. And essentially it was a huge risk to just quit my job to, start this dream, but that's exactly what I did. Yeah, as I mentioned, this is exactly why I walked away. I wanted financial freedom, location freedom, and the chance to build something of my own. So I quit. And I would not recommend this, but I quit without a perfect plan, but with a clear goal of exactly what I wanted out of life. And I always knew I could reapply to another job, but that was never the case. That was plan D, essentially, for me. It wasn't something I ever wanted to do. Again, I would not recommend this. I'd highly recommend you starting your own agency while you have your normal 9-to-5 job and then slowly transitioning out of the 9-to-5 job. I kind of went completely cold turkey and did it, and I was very fortunate it worked out. But yeah, that's exactly why I walked away. And of course, as with every single business story, it wasn't always a success. Actually, for the first few months, I had a big flop. So the first thing I started wasn't an AI automation agency. It was actually an SEO agency, and it failed miserably. The reason why it failed miserably is because of a few reasons. Number one is I didn't do enough market research. SEO is a crowded space, and it was really popular in 2015. However, I didn't know marketing well enough. Like I said, I was in processes and how to improve businesses' internal processes. I was never in marketing. So looking back on it, it wasn't a smart idea, but at the time, I didn't know any better. So I started an SEO agency with no experience in marketing. It was kind of a dying industry. I didn't research the market enough, and I burned thousands of pounds. I spent money, getting a website set up, learning about SEO, trying to understand exactly how it works, paying for tools to understand exactly how it works, taking courses, etc. And it was a massive failure. I couldn't get any clients. I couldn't break through into the market. I didn't really understand how the market worked. And the failure taught me more than any other success story ever could, because I learned you've got to join a market that, number one, there's loads of demand for. Number two, there aren't that many businesses in that market. AI is perfectly positioned for that. There's a huge amount of demand. And there's a huge, still even to now, where AI has become such a big thing. And, over the last year and a half, 2 years, it's especially developed in a business use case. There's still so much shortage and so much space for so many more AI agencies to fulfill the needs of the ever-growing demand for AI. So yeah, looking back, it was a great mistake to make because I learned everything within that SEO agency that would help me succeed in starting my own AI automation agency. And that's why it was so valuable. But I just want to be completely honest. When you're starting your own business, it's never going to work first time. Well, you could be extremely lucky and it could work first time, but there will be a lot of problems that you're going to need to solve, a lot of hurdles that you need to go over, a lot of emotional trauma that you're going to have to deal with, but that's just part of the cycle. And if you look up to some mentors that perhaps might have done it before you, that might have, trodden the road that you're looking to trod on, and, you've done your research around exactly who you're looking to follow, that's a really big thing, then that could probably accelerate your progress, but a lot of it is down to you and how much you're willing to put into it. So yeah, that was the SEO agency that didn't exactly work out. But then you had to look at finding what exactly works. This is the most important thing. You should do some research before starting a business. Like it was crazy that I didn't do any research before starting a business. So you need to find out exactly what's going to work, how it's going to work, what skill sets do you have that align with exactly what you're looking to do. So the flop forced me to lean into what I do know. I know how to do processes. I know that AI is a big thing. So fixing broken processes with smart automation was always a thing I had experience with in my previous job. I didn't know every tool. I don't even know how to code. I didn't know anything about AI, but I did know about businesses and I did know about streamlining processes. So that's a start, right? And no one's saying you've got to have 100% of the skills when you start the business. No one does, right? Especially with AI when it's so new, no one had those skills. But you build and you develop on those skills. You learn more while you're in the industry. You practice building automations, et cetera, and that's how you do it. You watch people like myself and other AI people who know a lot more because they've been in the industry for a while, and they kind of show you the ropes and how things work. And you got to apply your own twist to exactly what I'm teaching you or what someone else is teaching you, right? You got to know how to either build out amazing AI solutions and then how to apply that to a problem that a business is having. So when a business comes to you with a problem, you've got to hear them out, understand the problem, and then apply the correct tools to solve that problem for them. That's kind of the basic skill of starting your own AI automation agency. And I already had half of that down, fortunately, because of my previous job, but you can learn all of this. And that's exactly what I did. I found what works. I found what I knew I was good at. And that's exactly how this whole agency came into space with me. For example, when I started, right, there weren't very many AI agencies. There weren't many people like myself teaching other people how to start them. We kind of had to go through it on our own. And that obviously took a lot longer. And now that the blueprint is there and the blueprint actually works because we've done it, right? It's much easier to follow. And because there's still a lot of space in the market, it's a brilliant business to start in 2025. So finding what really works is what led me to where I am now. And lastly is the right partner at the right time. So I teamed up with my co-founder and partner, and she's a software engineer, right? She knows how to code. She's on the technical side of things. So I knew what I wanted to build. She knew how to build it, right? So together we spotted that AI was just taking off. She could use these low-code tools to build out the automations we needed. I understood the processes, I understood the client side of things, and that's how it started. So say you have a knowledge gap. You can go online and you can find people that might fill in the skills that you might not have. For example, if you're amazingly technical but you don't know how to sell, then you can find a co-founder who's excellent at sales. Or you can teach yourself how to do sales and then work there. It will just take longer, right? It all depends how quickly you want to get to your goal. If you want to get to your goal quickly, then you can partner with someone who's brilliant at sales, and if you're technical minded, and vice versa. If you're great at sales but you're not technical minded, then you can find someone who's brilliant at tech. If you an agency that wants to focus more on really complex problems like we do, then you're probably going to need someone who's good at processes, and then you find someone who's good at that, right? And there are loads of people online that you can hit up and just message. And a lot of them are interested in getting in this space. They just don't know how to. And combined with two brains are better than one, you can kind of accelerate into starting a business like this. That's exactly what I did here. I didn't understand so much of the technical aspect. Of course, I know how to build a few automations here and there, but I didn't understand exactly how to build them in the scale and the complexity we wanted to build them. So creating the right partnership at the right time is brilliant. One of the most important things is number 6, which is learning as you go. So we didn't wait to be experts. We practiced on building automations for fun when we had no clients. So getting clients is a whole nother thing, right, to building automations. So while you're looking for your client, you should be practicing how to build automations. You should be practicing and learning all the different tools in AI. You can start this business and learn at the same time. No one's saying you've got to be 100% expert on exactly how to do things. No one's an expert when they start a business, and no one's born an expert. So this is exactly what you should be doing. You should be learning as you go. I've been in this industry for almost 2 years now, and I still learn every single time. I learn about new AI tools because the industry is developing. So learning is one of the most important things when you're going to start an AI automation agency. And it starts right from when you start the business, because I didn't know much about AI. To be honest, no one did when I started. And you learn, right? In the same way we still do and learn. Before we used to build make.com operations. Now we learn how to use NA10. We learn how to use other image generation tools. We learn how to use new Google services, new AI tools, Claude, OpenAI, Gemini. You figure out all these tools as you go along, and you learn what they're good for, what they're not good for. And the more you practice, the better you will get. And that's why learning as you go is so important. And another thing that happened, so as we were learning, we were also looking to get clients. And this is something a lot of AI agencies, struggle with. And quite honestly, in my opinion, there's just a few ways to get clients, and all of them are about letting people know who you are and what you offer. Number 1 is content like this. Number 2 is messaging people, cold DMs, cold emails. That's one of the main ones. Another one is Facebook ads. This one's obviously a lot more expensive, but it gets you a lot of exposure, and there are a few others. But this is one of the most hardest things when you're starting out, is getting your first client, because you have no proof or nothing. I make so many videos on how to get your first client. I've got one on how to make your first client with AI voice solutions, how to get one when you're generally just starting an AI automation agency. And this one is super important. I didn't have all this information when I started. You have it, so you're already at an advantage to where I was back when we started. But when nothing works, right, is a big part of a business. There will be a time when nothing is going your way. It's all just nonsense. You're leaking money, not making any money. And this is the hardest part, to not be able to quit, right? We threw around £10,000 at ads. And given I didn't have a job, this was really, really risky, right? Ads and lead generation agencies, and they did not deliver. We did cold calls, cold emails, nothing. The breakthrough came when we started creating content. This is what we were good at, right? And that's why we started creating more and more content. We started to share what we knew, and that's what brought in our first client. It was a time of testing every single method of getting clients. And what clicked for us was creating content. For you, it might be different. You might be amazing at doing cold calls, and you might get a bunch of clients that way, but you've just got to sit there and you've got to try every single cold outreach method, or every single content creating method, or every single method basically to getting clients as you can until it works. And this is one of the hardest things when things don't work. This might also be when you're building an automation for a client and you realize you've overscoped and you actually can't do what you've promised. It does happen sometimes, rarely, because if you understand the tools enough, it shouldn't happen. Maybe when you start, it might happen. Nothing is working, and you spend 3 days trying to solve the problem of how am I going to get this project to work because I've overscoped. And that is one of the hardest things, and you've got to build this level of resilience. And that's where I learned this. In number 7, when we were looking for our first client and nothing worked and we were spending money, we learn resilience. And my co-founder and I really learned that the hard way. And that's why this is so useful. Staying motivated when it's hard is one of the biggest things when you're running your own business. These 4 months with no clients were rough, but instead of chasing quick fixes, we focused on getting better. Every single day we turned up, we woke up in the morning, we learned how to build out these automations, we tried to focus on how to generate leads. It's all about showing, you're worth trusting when an opportunity comes about. So, I've got all of these automations in my back pocket, we've booked a call through these methods, can we scale this? Staying motivated when it's hard is one of the hardest things to do. And another thing is time versus money. Don't romanticize quitting your job overnight. I did. I had savings and somewhat of a backup plan, but building your business while you're earning gives you so much more flexibility, right? Risk is part, but being reckless isn't. I would say I was bordering on being reckless. We definitely could have built it while I had a 9 to 5. It just takes longer hours, right? You've got to, as soon as you finish your job at 6, you've got to start working on the business. It's intense, but the rewards are great. I'm currently sitting in a villa in the middle of Bali, enjoying my life. That's the rewards you get for, working hard and doing it that way. Like I say, don't quit your job. I'm absolutely not recommending that. I actually recommend you start it with your job and ensure you have enough savings to start up a business. Or if you don't have enough savings, then finding the cheapest way to do things and building it through grit and graft, essentially. Build your business while you're still earning, and don't be reckless. And point number 10, quit for the life, not just for the money. For me, it's not about flash cars, Rolexes, or showing off. It's about working when I want and where I want. Those are the 2 most important things you just cannot get with a 9 to 5. Like I said, I'm sitting in Bali with a lovely swimming pool and lovely villa, and I get to enjoy and work from where I want to work. And I choose when I want to work, right? I sometimes decide I want to take a day off and go traveling around the beautiful island, and I'll go and travel around the beautiful island. And I will go take Friday and Monday off, and therefore I get 4 days off. And it's amazing, and I don't have to ask anyone about it. Also, I love solving problems, right? A client comes to me and they say, hey, Yash, we want to do X, Y, and Z. How can we do it? And using the tools and the knowledge I have, which I got from the learning as you go section and also the current learning, even though we already built up a business and a reputation, we still have to continue learning, solving problems that, care about, the clients care about, and that's the challenge that I love doing. And growing something that you're actually proud of, right? turning up and recording these videos every single day to grow channels, to grow the business, grow a personal brand. It's your own thing, right? You're not tending to a garden. You're not growing someone else's plants. The plants are yours and you are growing them. You planted the seed right at the start, right here when your first big flop. It is still part of planting the seed, and then water the plant yourself. You turn up every single day, you grow the plant yourself, and it's yours, right? You're not coming to water someone else's plant, and that's what it was at 9 to 5. That's real freedom, and anyone can build it. You can build it too. I hope my journey kind of summed up exactly how it feels to start up your own AI automation agency. It involves a lot of graft, a lot of learning. But when I started, we had nothing, right? This was a new industry. And now is probably one of the best times to start because there's a nice balance between the fact that it might not be as new and there might not be as few suppliers doing this thing, but also there's still so much more demand and it grows every single day because AI is the big thing. And also you're at a point where people have done it before. So that means you can kind of copy them. You don't have to reinvent the wheel, and you can do it slightly better to what they did before. When I was looking to start my agency, all the coaches were starting marketing and Facebook ad agencies, which is hard to relate, right, to AI automation and Facebook marketing. They're not the same way now. You have so many people teaching you how to start an AI automation agency. You have that extra leg up to where we were a year and a half ago. Time for action is now. If this is something you're interested in, and given you got to the end of the video, you probably are. So that's how I escaped my 9 to 5 and I built a 6-figure agency. If this is something you're interested in, drop a subscribe. You can also shoot me a DM if you want any advice. Also, if you want this document over here, just drop a comment with the word journey and I'll send it right over to you. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.